All right. And here we are, just staring at each other. We were just talking about this, everybody, before we went live. Happy holidays to you. Katie, it's wonderful to have you back in studio. Welcome, everybody. This is our last 10-minute marketing makeover of 2024. We're going to go on hiatus so that we can, like you, enjoy the holidays. Before we do, though, we want to make sure we recap the top episodes, which equates in our instance to the top marketing concerns of 2024. And we want to give you a preview on what those are going to look like in 2025. So before I say another word, Katie, it's been a minute. How are you doing? And how are your holiday preparations going?
I've been good. I was thinking, I was like, I feel like this has been so long since I was on. I was like, it has. We had Thanksgiving, and then I had a flight change, almost got stuck in a tsunami in San Francisco. That's what was happening as you were live on the air. And then, we're off for a week. So it's great to be back. Great way to wrap up the year.
Yeah.
I said, hopefully everybody else is getting ready to head off for the holidays, take a hiatus of their own, but also really thinking through taking that moment to celebrate what worked really well in 2024, which is what we're doing here. And then looking ahead and going, okay, so what's going to change in 2025? Where should all of our energies really be focused?
Yeah, absolutely. Kina, happy holidays to you too. It's great to see you. So let's jump right in. If we just look at the numbers, which you and I have been doing, top episodes over the course of 2024 for us, in
Are we
order.
Going to count backwards?
Well, we're going to go in order, top to bottom.
Top to bottom.
Although I do want to make mention of the fact that the top 3 marketing concerns are based on the analytics from episodes. The fourth is by accruals. It's an additive marketing topic. So brand identity was clearly one of the most pressing. I seem to have lost the connection. So if I'm still live, here. Okay, fantastic. Great.
I gotcha.
Good. Brand identity, making sure that you are showing up at a glance for your audience. We focused on logo, but of course, a brand is more than your logo. But showing up, being visible at a glance. Second, staying on top of the LinkedIn algorithm. Now, this is true for any social media channel, but you want to make sure that all of the hard work you're putting in terms of your content creation is actually being seen by people. And so whether we're talking LinkedIn or another social platform, you want to make sure that you are staying ahead of the algorithm updates, which are happening regularly. Third, SEC, the marketing rule, and testimonial marketing going forward. So we want to make sure that we're compliant, but also that this gets folded into our marketing strategy. If you are not yet collecting testimonials from clients, you want to make sure that you're adding that into your strategy. You're being consistent, you're being compliant. All of us do this, right? Before we buy anything these days, we go online, we read reviews. You want to make sure that your prospects are able to do the same thing. And then, this is no surprise, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Katie, at this point, video. And we're not just talking about shooting more of it, we're talking about being more strategic. The coolest thing about this, everybody, is those 4 marketing issues from 2024 are precisely the marketing issues that you want to be focusing on heading into 2025. So, video, Katie, what do we need to be doing?
Well, I love your word there, Derek, strategic. And that's Brian Thorpe. Great to see you. Happy holidays to you as well. Thank you again for being a fabulous guest. You saw that episode kind of hits the top 4, really important one. And Derek, this is a conversation I have with people, right? We've talked about it on different episodes. And when Lindsay Berta was on, marketing is not a checkbox exercise. And we see this a lot with video. You know, people will shoot video. They'll have video out there and they'll say, I'm doing video. Or testimonials matter. I know we're going to touch on that in just a second, Brian. They matter hugely. But with video, you know, I see people, they have a podcast. And so they're just taking clips and putting it out there with copy, right? Captions, text in the post that doesn't add anything, you know? And so people think I'm doing video. But I always equate it to, have you ever been at the gym and you see people on a treadmill at like a 15% angle holding on for dear life? And I always look at them, I'm like, you're not getting the benefit of being on the treadmill at a 15% angle at all. Right? That's the same thing when you're just like doing marketing, right? And
Yeah.
putting stuff out there is you might be doing it. That person can say, I went to the gym, I was on the treadmill for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
but they're not actually getting the results.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's such a great point. I think that carries over to the other aspects as well. You want to make sure, again, I know everyone on this call, I'll speak for myself in terms of the co hosts here, but everyone on this call, including my own self, get fatigued.
Yeah.
Marketing, because it is such a long term strategy, sound familiar, advisors? Because it is such a long term strategy, it requires you to show up consistently. Whether we are talking about your brand identity, Errol, great to see you. And fantastic that you're going to
Yes.
be adding in video. It's wonderful to see and to hear, and I'm excited about that.
I fully support it.
So do I. um, this long-term strategy,
Yep.
it requires you to go into it knowing that right around the time you get tired of hearing yourself say the same thing,
Yep.
that's the first time your next client has heard it. And so you're going to have to find ways and creative ways to repurpose content, to continue to be energized by your messaging. And Katie, as you were just saying, find the places where your ideal client is showing up so you can meet them there.
Yep.
Now, that may mean you do wind up learning a new social platform. Before we went live today, we were talking about behind the scenes automations and the time that it takes to get something like that set up. But for all of you, again, knowing that you're going to see benefits down the road, that initial investment of time, of effort, of thought, of resources, that's the winning play. And so making sure, again, at a glance, somebody can recognize who you are, what you do, what your unique value is, whether we're talking about something like the golden arches or the Nike swoosh, right? You want to make sure that you're able to convey that very quickly. And you want to make sure, as you said about strategy, you're showing up where your ideal clients are. So that has to become part, if it isn't already, your strategy in terms of marketing, so that you don't just, as you say, do marketing, you don't
Yeah.
just tick the boxes, but you get value from all of the work that you're putting in, and it's being seen, people are engaging with it.
Yeah. And it's just to add to that, it's showing up where they're at and using their language.
Yeah.
And that's where having that clear target market and knowing who you are and who you want to work with, right? I always think back to prick-free financial planning, right?
Yeah.
Cactus. And that was so memorable. And that is
Yeah.
going to instantly attract some people and detract people.
Yeah.
Right? That's great. So how can, like you said in the beginning, that branding, it's not just logo, it's what is the language you're using? What is the overall, look and feel of your site, of your messaging, making sure that you're showing up the same way online as you do in every client and prospect meeting. There shouldn't be two different versions of you.
Oh,
And so
that's so,
everything we're talking about, I mean, it all fits together, right? It's
yeah,
a web there.
it is integrated marketing, right? But also to your point, I find myself coming back to this over and again, because I think so many advisors get hung up. They start to think about marketing as something outside of all of the excellent work they do with clients. I see we have a comment from Jessica Brown there.
Yeah.
Jessica, great to see you.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. The trifecta, who you are, what you do, and your unique value. There you have it, everybody. There's your brand in a nutshell. And how do you convey that? I see we have a comment from Jack. Well, it's
Oh,
great to see
Jackie.
everybody.
I'm not familiar with that one. Okay.
Oh,
I
that's
posted less than I
fantastic.
feel. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, Derek, I
Yeah,
wanna try this afterwards, so we'll have to do that. Jackie, thank you for the suggestion there. That would be an
yeah.
interesting thing for all of us to do, but that's
I
such a
need
great
Callie.
point, is it is Callie, I have a feeling we will. We always do, and it's the last one of the year. So we'll go another minute. But that goes back to what you were saying, Derek, right?
Yeah,
Say it again, remind them you told them, say it once more. Like, you
yeah,
need to repeat the same thing over and over again, and in our own heads, we're like, "Oh my gosh, aren't people sick of hearing this?"
yeah.
Right? Jackie, you were thinking, oh my gosh, aren't I posting too much?
Right.
But that's the great thing about having kind of like third party analytics, right?
Yeah,
And having other things look in is we are so in our heads and we have the same thoughts all the time. We have the same conversations all the time. That isn't actually getting disseminated out.
yeah, yeah. And again, that's that next step. I know we can get overwhelmed by all of the steps in this long-term process, right? It's the next step that matters. And so whether it is consolidating your brand, whether it is making sure that you're staying on top of those algorithm updates, whether it is taking a closer look at testimonial marketing, whether it is showing up more strategically in video and placing it more strategically across the pillars of your marketing, you want to make sure again that you're being very mindful about the next person that you know you can help, who you can reach, and providing them with opportunities to engage so
Yeah.
that marketing isn't a one-way street.
Yeah. I love that.
So
Derek, any
here, so I was going to say, so here we are. We're going on 11 minutes, everybody. So, Katie, you were going to say.
Yeah, I would just say kind of one final thought. A conversation I have with a
Yeah.
lot of advisors is, there isn't time for marketing. There are all these other things that need to be done. And we've
Yeah.
kind of mentioned it a few times, touched on it. Hey, what can you automate? How can you leverage technology in a really efficient and effective way? And so I always encourage advisors, look at everything else that's taking up your time, right? Are you sending the same kinds of emails to clients? Is your onboarding process for clients efficient, right?
Yeah.
How can you streamline other areas of your business in a way that save you time, and done right can often increase the touch points that you have with your clients and prospects. It can provide better service. And so often we're like, oh, we don't want to use automation because we're, white glove service. And
Yeah.
that often isn't convenient, right? Automation
Yeah.
can be a great thing, having those touch points. So if you're thinking heading into 2025, I'm overwhelmed, it's year end, we're doing Roth conversions and RMDs and tax loss harvesting, I don't have time for any of this. Well, look at all those. Is there anything you can do to automate that? Could you have reminded people of RMDs sooner? Could you have talked about Roth conversions sooner, right? How can you bring a little bit more operational excellence into your business so that frees up not only your time, but your energy, the energy that's needed to really do marketing and be excited about it?
Yeah. Well, and there it is. What a wonderful way for us to conclude, not just do marketing, but be excited about it, because that excitement translates into your messaging. And when your messaging is exciting in that way, your ideal client is going to gravitate to you. So
Yeah.
you're going to wind up having the experience whereby your marketing becomes a client call you're having out loud with your prospects.
Yeah.
Katie, absolutely great to have you back in studio. Have a wonderful holiday. Wonderful to everyone to have so much engagement in today's chat. For those of you who are watching the recording, thank you for freeing up 10 minutes in your schedule. Have a happy holiday, everyone. Katie, have a wonderful couple of weeks here, and let's all of us have a strong start to the new year.
I love that. Derek, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll see you in 2025.
There we go. See you next year.